But to revisit something as traumatic as abuse can be frightening up front, but it's certainly worth the healing that's going to come out on the other hand.
Hey folks, how's it going? I want to talk with you a little bit today about memory. And the neuroscience of trauma has really been such my baby, really since 2006, when I made up my mind, all right, enough is enough. I'm done with this trauma stuff. I've got to get better. And as I began reading and understanding the neuroscience of trauma, it really launched me, propelled me, honestly, forward in my own healing journey. And so I want to share with you a little story. I was out on a ride with my honey probably a couple of months ago. We often hop in the car and just drive, and no agenda, but this is a great space for us to connect, limited, you're locked inside, no distractions. And so we sometimes have our best conversations on these car rides. And I was telling him a little something that I was thinking about, which is a narrative that I have about myself as being bad at math. I said, because he's a gardener and he's a landscaper, and that requires a lot of like measuring out. I said, yeah, it's really amazing to me that you can do those calculations. I think it's so cool. And, I just really have always had a hard time with math. But in that moment, I paused and I said, let me think about this a little bit more. Where does that idea even come from? And I said, well, I have this story that my mom told me at one point that a teacher said to me that I was bad at math. But if I really look at that closely, I don't actually remember that exact moment. Like the memory of my mom saying that to me is a narrative, but it's not a memory. I can't feel it. I can't connect to that day and that moment and that time, which makes me think, okay, either like I could have just made that whole thing up, or maybe it was in the context of something and it might have even just been a passing thing. And so there wasn't a lot of emotional connection in that moment. And so the memory didn't really land in a crisp and clear way. But either way, I've always held this narrative of myself that I'm bad at math. I mean, so much so that I have my degree in English. I was like far, as far as you can get away from the sciences. And I remember when I went to the University of Chicago, my second semester there, I got it, I just got like this sense of I've got to face this. I've got to deal with this story that I have about myself. So I am going to take the hardest math class that I was like eligible for and had the prerequisites for, but I'm going to take the harder class rather than the easy class. That was tough. I was in like office hours every single week. I got tutoring. And I'm like putting myself through the paces of this class so that I can prove to myself that I'm good at math. And yes, I passed it and I did fabulous. But as I was talking with my honey about this, I thought, how funny is that? Like I made a life decision based on a narrative, a story about myself that I'm not even sure really happened. Like something I'm barely sure really happened drove my behavior. Isn't that a trip, y'all? And so complex is the story of how we become who we think we are. Now, that can be maybe a little unsettling. Like, whoa, like, then what does that mean? Is everything illusion? Is everything made up? Can we trust our memories? Will memories be confused or even false, particularly when we start to get into the world of trauma, right? What I think about it though is it creates options. It creates possibility. I don't have to decide, I don't have to figure out, did that experience with my mom really happen? All I have to know is that I was carrying that narrative around. I was reinforcing it. I became the owner and the author. Even if it maybe it had initially been given to me by a teacher and then through my mom, I was actually writing that script as an adult. I have the capacity to do that. And what this also means, folks, is that as adults, we can rewrite the scripts. We don't have to figure out where the memory came from, where the script came from. We can just change it. Now, sometimes there can be benefit to trying to find the origin of something that we believe. I do that all the time with my clients, but I also work all the time with my clients who don't have any memories, who don't have specific details, who have doubts and fears about those memories, and we can still move forward, heal, reclaim our lives, and write the story that we want to write. So I really encourage you to share some of the scripts that you are running, to get curious, like where did that come from? And if you're not able to identify where it came from, that's okay. But consider, what new script would you like to write for yourself today? Until we meet again, take good care of you.